If you ask yourself whether meditation actually does work or not, let me tell you the short answer, which is yes. After more than 3 years of daily practice, I think I can boldly say that it actually does work. But you want to know the longer answer. The longer answer is that it actually depends, because most people do it wrong. And to be very honest, if you've tried meditation but it didn't work out for you, or if you're thinking about trying it out but you think that it is so complicated and difficult and therefore you haven't even tried, then it probably is because you're doing the same mistake as I've seen most people do, which is to think that meditation is a doing, it's an act, when in reality, I've seen that it's actually a being. Now, as soon as I personally understood that meditation is a being, is a state, not a doing, and therefore stopped thinking about how to meditate or what should I focus, how should I breathe, and how should I keep my hand, how should I put my feet. When I stopped doing that and I started focusing on the state, and I followed 3 simple steps that I will be sharing with you in this video, meditation has been unlocked for me. So I realized that I had to make this video a few days ago when a friend of mine asked me advice on how to meditate. He basically wanted to get rid of negative mental patterns and he thought that meditation would help him to do that. So he asked me a few tricks, he asked me how to meditate. And I thought to myself that he was doing a big mistake, but at the same time I remember that I was doing that same mistake too a few years ago, of thinking that meditation was an act, was something I had to do, was sitting with my legs crossed, my eyes closed and my hands like this, focusing on my breath or on sounds that I'm hearing or on my skin or on my body in general. And I thought that that was meditation. But as soon as I realized that that was not the case, that's where things changed. And I didn't actually come up with it myself, to be very honest. I read it in several books when I first got introduced to meditation, when I first started to get interested in this topic. So those books suggested me to stop caring about how to do it and start focusing on how to feel it. Now, I will get to that in just a second. But let me make it more clear, because I think that meditation is very similar to happiness. And by understanding how happiness works, we actually understand how meditation works. So there is a big difference between happiness and smiling, right? Happiness is a state. You are or you aren't happy. Smiling is an act. You can smile or you can not smile, right? But you can be happy without smiling. You can be happy all day long without having to smile, right? But obviously smiling does help. Actually, scientific research has shown that smiling, even forcing a smile right now, try it out, forcing a smile actually makes you feel happier. So here we understand that smiling is an act, but it actually helps us to get the state of being happy. But happiness is not smiling. The same thing goes for meditation. Sitting with your legs crossed, your hands like this, your eyes closed, focusing on your breath, for example. That's an act, right? That's something you have to do. While meditating, on the other hand, is not a doing. It's a being. It's a state. It's a state of consciousness, to be more exact. So you could here as well meditate all day long without having to sit like this with your eyes closed and focus on your breath. You could meditate while you're taking a shit. You could meditate while you're in the shower. You could meditate while you're in the gym, while you're having sex, while you're walking, while you're working, while you're studying. Meditation is a state of consciousness. And obviously, it actually is much easier to enter that state when you're there with your eyes closed, your legs crossed, your hands like this in a still room, right? It's much easier to enter a state of consciousness in that when you're doing that, but it actually is not mandatory. So how do we actually start meditating? We have to follow 3 simple steps. The first step is to understand what meditation actually feels like, because we have said it's not a doing, it's a being. So to try to understand it, I will actually do it with you right now. So just close your eyes. If you've come to this point of the video, I'm sure that you don't want to be wasting your time. So just try it out. Just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Another one. So the closest that I can get to describing the meditative state of consciousness, is by telling you that when you are meditating, you're basically remembering the fact that you exist. You're basically remembering that you're alive. If you can remember that you're alive, and it's kind of like a strange feeling to remember that you're alive, to remember that you exist. You basically detach yourself from your body and mind, and you realize that you exist. If you can keep that sensation up while you're breathing, while you're studying, while you're walking, while you're working out, while you're approaching a girl, doesn't matter, you will be in a meditative state basically. And that is the key, that feeling. Now, if you didn't really feel it, I highly recommend you to try it out over and over and over again. To just try to feel consciousness, your consciousness, to feel your detachment from your body and mind, to feel the presence, your inner stillness. It's difficult to describe in words, but it's a sensation that as soon as you feel it, you will know that you felt it. So that's it for step number 1. Step number 2 is now very practical, just like step number 1 actually, but is to just set right now a time in your day when you will be meditating. It can be in the morning, it can be in the evening, it can be after lunch, doesn't matter, but set a time where you take yourself every single day 5 to 10 minutes and you just sit with your hands like this, your eyes closed, your legs crossed, actually it doesn't matter, but just try to feel that feeling of being conscious as much as you can. And third step is actually to practice, to actually do it, right? And if you can, try to keep up that state of consciousness, realizing that you are existing all day long while you're doing, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you can literally be in that state wherever you go. I'm literally practicing it right now as I'm filming this video, so you can do it wherever you want. Now, these were the 3 simple steps. This is what has worked for me, and let me tell you that meditation has literally been a game changer habit. Very simply because I became much more conscious. By becoming conscious, you become more in control, right? You can actually decide whether something is going to make you angry or not, because you're detached from your thoughts, from your body. You can be happy while you're pushing in the gym and everything is hurting and burning, right? I became a much happier person. I became a much more conscious and present person. I actually became a much more calm and less stressed person, simply because I meditated for 5 to 10 minutes a day, every single day. So it's literally as simple as that. I really hope that this video helped you out. If you have any other questions, write them down in the comments down below. Anyways, I highly recommend you to subscribe, because this week, actually on Saturday, very probably, there will come out another video on consciousness. So if you don't really understand what it means to be conscious, I highly recommend you to go and watch that video. Anyways, I wish you all the best and see you in the next video. Actually, remember that if you don't implement, it will not work.